This is who the narcissist surrounds themselves with. You won't believe it. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for being here. Today, we're diving into an important topic. Who does the narcissist surround themselves with? Take a moment to think about that. If you find the content valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. So, who are the narcissist's inner circle? These are typically people who are either dependent on the narcissist, enabling them, or playing the role of the flying monkeys. They could also be people who are subservient to the narcissist, or those who need them for financial support. At their core, narcissists are fragile, shallow, and insecure. They rely on others to inflate their ego and make them feel superior. This is why, when we look back at our relationships with narcissists, we can see how they were in constant competition with us. The narcissists competed with us every single day, yet they didn't want us to believe in our own worth. That's how we ended up losing ourselves. Our identity diminished because we believed in their mask and the false narrative they created. They're experts at manipulation, and they know exactly what they're doing. But who did the narcissists surround themselves with back when you first met them? Think back to that time. You probably didn't know what narcissism was. You might have thought it was simply someone who admired themselves in the mirror. Sure, that's part of it, but another significant aspect of narcissism is manipulation. Narcissists need to control, bully, and make people believe in their mask. This is why they use tactics like gaslighting, stonewalling, silent treatment, smear campaigns, and triangulation, just to name a few. Back then, we didn't have labels for these tactics. We felt the toxicity of their abuse, but we couldn't name what we were going through. Now, though, we know terms like gaslighting and projection. If you're still learning, you're on the path to understanding and awakening. Looking at the narcissist's circle back then, you were likely the one they surrounded themselves with. Perhaps you were a people pleaser, an empath, loving, stable, and healthy. Maybe you lacked boundaries or struggled to say no, the most powerful word in the English language. When you said no, you were saying yes to yourself. But at the time, you didn't realize that. You believed that the narcissist, who showered you with attention and assimilated themselves into your life, was the person they claimed to be. We now know that wasn't the case. They were a shapeshifter, a dark energy force, drawing you in to fall into their narcissistic fog. When you expressed love for them, that's when they knew they had you. When they heard those magical words, "I love you," that's when they felt their work was done for the first phase of the relationship. Remember, the narcissistic cycle is a loop: love bombing, the slower stage, devaluation, then the relationship's eventual end, followed by the hoover. And let me be clear, never accept a hoover. Once they knew they had you in their grasp, they began extracting your resources. You believed in the mask, thinking their actions would align with their words, but they never did. They promised you everything, the sun, moon, and stars, and delivered nothing in return. All you got in exchange was less than zero. During the relationship, you gave everything you had, not knowing what you were truly up against. This wasn't something they taught us in school, but now you're gaining the wisdom to understand this abusive cycle. You're learning and applying the tools shared within this community, combining them with your own experiences, and that is what leads to wisdom. I want to revisit a few important points I've mentioned in previous videos to really drive home the message. If you've identified a narcissistic or toxic person in your life, stay in that relationship even 1 minute longer than necessary will only harm you. It won't benefit you, it won't improve anything, and it certainly won't change. Narcissistic relationships inevitably deteriorate because the narcissist is constantly working to destroy the relationship over and over until something finally breaks. Perhaps you've experienced reactive abuse, or maybe you were the one to end it. Maybe you were discarded on your birthday, holiday, or during a special time in your life. Whatever it is, it's clear that narcissists only move forward by creating chaos. So, who do narcissists surround themselves with? Generally, they seek out people who are unaware of narcissism's prevalence. People like you once were, and like I was, but I hope and believe that you've grown beyond that. You're beginning to understand the importance of boundaries of saying no, and of protecting yourself. It's critical to realize that some people, including narcissists, don't have your best interest at heart. Accepting the truth that someone might not wish you well is tough for many, but it's the reality when you're dealing with someone who simply doesn't care. When you're in a relationship, pouring everything into someone who shows no care or affection in return, you find yourself vulnerable. The person you're with doesn't have the capacity to love, and never did. They didn't love you then, and they won't in the future. There are people who lack the ability to love, and it's something we're learning to recognize. Not everyone is built the same way. Let's talk about empathy for a moment. If you're someone with a high level of empathy, like I was, the narcissist likely saw you as a source of endless supply. You would have been committed to the relationship, putting the narcissist on a pedestal at your own expense. You believe their words, even though their actions didn't align with them, and you give them chance after chance, never wanting to quit. An empath is a kind, loving, and stable person who wants the best for others, but narcissistic relationships are not reciprocal. They are one-sided, leading to destruction, and the narcissist is fully aware of this. That's why they are constantly seeking new sources of supply, always on the hunt for the next shiny object. At one point, you were that new source, but remember, when they found you, they were likely coming out of, or had already ended, a previous relationship. Most likely, they discarded that person too, just as they did with you later. They saw you as someone who could carry them through life for however long it lasted, whether that was a week, a year, or even decades. But eventually, the relationship ended because their resources were drained, or your health deteriorated, or they simply found someone else who could provide what you couldn't. The key takeaway is that the narcissistic relationship is the one you need to heal from. When it ended, you likely found your support system shattered. Maybe even your family wasn't as present as before, and you were left struggling with sleepless nights and emotional pain. You might have even gone through an angry phase, trying to make sense of it all. But here's what was really happening. You were healing from the damage caused by a narcissistic relationship. Healing takes time. It involves slowing down, processing childhood wounds, journaling, meditating, seeking therapy, and absorbing as much wisdom as you can. It's about reassessing who's really in your life. And here's another tough pill. Not everyone, even those related to you by blood, has your best interests at heart. This is a hard truth, but it's an important one to accept. The journey of healing often involves delving into various areas of self-discovery and understanding. Once you've identified that you're dealing with a narcissist, you'll start to recognize similar patterns in other people and situations around you. You might think, oh, that teacher from 3rd grade, that's what that was, or that other relationship, that was narcissistic, or even that friend, my neighbor, my boss, my family member, they fit the same mold. It's a natural part of the process. We're all on the path to healing, though each of us is at different points. Some of us might be ahead, some behind, and some right next to others in this journey. But the goal is the same for everyone, reaching a place of indifference. The ultimate aim is to get to the point where we no longer care about the narcissist or anyone tied to them. This is the path to healing. Now let's revisit the question. Who does a narcissist surround themselves with? As I've mentioned before, narcissists tend to associate with people who are subservient to them, especially when they hold power, whether that's financial power or authority in a workplace, for example. If they're the boss, they can manipulate the situation by controlling your hours, firing you, or pitting you against others, creating a toxic environment. I've experienced working with narcissistic bosses, and it's never a healthy dynamic. But back then, I didn't have the wisdom I have now to identify these behaviors, just like you didn't know what you were up against. Narcissists often surround themselves with flying monkeys, people who do their bidding. These flying monkeys may not even realize they're being used, but they're often unknowingly carrying out the narcissist's agenda. Sometimes they're children, friends, or coworkers, blissfully unaware of their role. But there are also flying monkeys who knowingly enjoy their position. They thrive on gossip and drama, keeping tabs on people's social media and reporting back to the narcissist. What these individuals fail to understand is that eventually their own lives will experience a similar unraveling. It might not come from a narcissist, but it will come in some form, whether it's health issues, personal crisis, or something else. Everyone faces challenges at some point in life. The important thing to remember is that life is not linear. Healing is not linear either. There will be ups and downs along the way. You may experience sleepless nights, emotional turmoil, and difficult moments of introspection. But with time, as you continue moving forward, you'll start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. This is the healing process. When you reach the end of the tunnel and become the third version of yourself, the most empowered, strong, and resilient version you could ever imagine, you will be transformed. And that transformation will last forever. Your transformation will be beyond what you ever imagined possible. It's a place where many of us are already waiting for you to join us. While not everyone is there yet, many of us have reached the peak of indifference, what I like to call the mountaintop of indifference. And let me tell you, there's room for you up here. But there's no space for the narcissist or anyone toxic. They aren't allowed in this space. This is a place of clarity and freedom, a space reserved for those who have made it through the emotional turmoil, processed their experiences, and truly healed. We've done the hard work, journaling, meditating, seeking therapy, and taking time to truly recover. Now we view the world through a completely new lens, one we never thought we would have. It's not just possible, it's real. Every week, I help more people climb their way to this pinnacle, this mountaintop of indifference. It's a journey, a moonshot even, a calling that needs to be answered. My hope is that you're already well on your way, or that if this is the first message you've encountered, you realize that where you are now is not where you'll be in 3 months, 6 months, a year. If you truly come to understand that the narcissist has never had your best interest at heart, past, present, or future, you'll start to slow down and assess your life. In that space, you'll see it clearly. Yes, it's tough. It will take time, a lot of it. But if you commit to healing, you will heal. That's exactly what happened to me. 2 years and 2 days of isolation, navigating some of the toughest challenges imaginable. But I did it, and now I'm here, sharing the journey with you. When you're ready, you'll do the same. If you're not quite healed yet, that's okay. Take your time. But remember, every moment spent in communication with a toxic, narcissistic person is one moment too long. I know the complexities, a divorce, child custody battles, needing to sell a house, or having a narcissistic family member like an adult child, a sibling, or a parent. I get it. What I'm encouraging you to do is to use grey rock. Keep things dull and boring. And when you can, get out. Maybe today isn't the day, but maybe it is. Maybe today's the day you finally go through your phone and delete those old pictures. Maybe it's time to get rid of that coffee mug the narcissist gave you on a milestone birthday, when you should have had the trip of a lifetime. But instead, you got a trinket. Today could be the day to throw it away. The healing journey is yours alone. It's a path you must walk through, with the pain and the healing, to emerge stronger. It won't be a straight line. It will have its ups and downs. But when you come through the other side, you'll be at that peak where many of us are waiting for you. And when you reach it, you'll know it was all worth it. Now think about this. What if the narcissist had handed you a 2-page document when you met? What if it said, "This is what I will do to you. This is the abuse I'll inflict. Mental, emotional, financial, physical, and all the ways I'll drive wedges between you and what matters most." Would you have entered that relationship? Of course not. Neither would I. But that's not how it happened. The narcissist entered your life with deception, under false pretenses, presenting themselves as caring, loving, and authentic. None of those things are true. The truth is, the narcissist is a coward and a bully. They prey on vulnerable individuals, those who lack knowledge or awareness of the narcissistic cycle of abuse. They cheat. They don't believe the laws of humanity apply to them. They think they're above it all. They act like they can wipe the past clean, as if their toxic behaviors never occurred. But here's the reality. It did happen. We know what you did, and we're getting stronger every day. Meanwhile, the narcissist is weakening, shrinking down to a tiny, insignificant size. The truth always comes out, and in the end, they will be the ones who are left powerless. You're beneath the dirt under my shoe, and we all know it. You, me, and many others. You can keep switching your masks to deceive people all over, and you're quite skilled at it. But there's one thing you can't do. You can't look inward, heal, learn, grow, or evolve into a new version of yourself. The third version, the better version. That's something you'll never achieve. You'll remain stuck in your low state, and everyone knows it, including you. So, good luck, narcissists. The road ahead is long for you. Those of us who you exploited are healing or have already healed, and you've unknowingly made us stronger than we ever thought possible. Let me say this again. We never wanted to endure the toxicity of the relationship. We would have never entered it if you'd been honest about who you are. But we had no choice but to go through it. There was no other way. And so we take the lifelong lessons we learned and live in the present moment. We don't focus on the future because none of us is promised tomorrow, not even you, narcissists. The difference is simple. You narcissists live only for the moment, while we, the shining lights, live fully in the present. It's a stark contrast. A dark narcissistic difference versus a bright, empathetic light difference. You can see it. The truth is this. You, narcissists, are the moths, and we are the flame. You were drawn to us like a moth is drawn to a flame. But back then, we didn't understand that. We believed everyone had our best interests at heart. But you knew exactly what you were doing. And now we do too. And now you have no power over us. You have no power over anyone anymore. All the damage, manipulation, destruction, and chaos you caused, it's coming back around. It's probably already happening. If you're watching this, deep down, you know you've made huge mistakes. But you won't stop because you don't want to introspect, heal, or take responsibility for your actions. So that's all for today. Remember, you're not alone. We're here with you. God bless you all. I love you, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed the video. Nelson and Nola made another guest appearance. I'll try to get them in for tomorrow's video. I love you all. Bye for now.